So this is it, right? Lost
Yep.
pro race.
Yeah.
So what
yeah.
are the feelings?
One of the reasons I've been good in my career is because I am really good at coping mechanisms and siloing all of my emotions into, I don't know, maybe siloing isn't right. It's more like repressing like emotions. And so honestly, this is really a race for me. I'm really focused on this just like any other race. For me personally, there's no amount of like, oh, the enormity of my career has to be expressed in this experience. I really don't feel any of that pressure at all. I'm going to race New York. I'm going to try to beat as many women as possible. And then 3 steps past the finish line, maybe I'll start to kind of feel like, oh, I wonder what retirement will feel like.
Yeah. What's a good day for you think?
I'd really like to break 2:30. Honestly, that's my goal. I know the course is harder. I know it's not, a place where you go for time, and so I've already been warned, don't worry about the time, just go and compete and so forth. But it would be so fun for me to finish on a PR. That's one way that I am kind of thinking about, like, oh, if in the context of like, oh, if this is my last competitive race, wouldn't it be so fun? Even though I've only finished one other marathon. I don't know. It's still fun to think I'm going to finish running my best marathon ever.
Totally. So obviously a glittering career on the track.
Thank you.
One of the best ever by an American distance runner. What are your favorite memories from your career?
Oh, man. So many of my favorite memories are in college. You wear a Colorado uniform, you're part of a team, and that's where so much of my development happened. I took the biggest steps. Winning the Prefontaine Classic will just always be, or I'm sorry, I didn't win, but like running sub 4, I was second. But I mean, for a college kid, that's winning, right? I mean, it was that is a moment that just transformed my idea of what I could do and who I could be in the sport. Making my first Olympic team, running a lot of those different distances from the 800 to the steeplechase to the 5K. A lot of those I ran for the first time as a Colorado athlete. So those are definitely my best and favorite. And you also just grow as a person. You learn how to be a good teammate. You make mistakes and you have people around you to kind of help you. You learn how to recover for the first time. You learn how to handle defeat for the first time. When you're in high school, there's a stage there, but for me, there wasn't a camera. And so college was the first time you had to kind of like, this is what it looks like to lose graciously. So college will probably be my best memories.
Yeah. What do you think was your best race? Was it that pre-race or do you have another one in mind?
I think one of my best races of all time was the indoor mile at Texas A&M when I won the conference championship. It was the only time I ever beat Sally. I led wire to wire, and it was just like, for me personally, like a young athlete maturing into kind of a commanding winner. And that took time. That took a lot of development, a lot of like mental maturation. And that was the woman who went into her pro career that then could win medals. And again, it took more development and more time, but that indoor race was a really, really good run for me.
Yeah. Was there something that happened in your career? Like, you go all over the world doing these races. I'm sure you meet all sorts of people. Like,
yeah.
Was there someone you met or something that happened that you were like, wow, I never thought this would happen, but now it's happening?
Oh man, I've had so many moments like that. I don't know that like on the spot I can think of one in particular, but I mean, it's mostly that you're a young person, and in 2007 I land in Osaka and I'm going to race in the World Championships, and you just think like, how did I get here? And then in the exact same vein, like almost 20 years later, I'm still doing this. Like, I look back on the younger version of myself and I think I could have never imagined it would last this long. So what a privilege. I mean, in a way, I've had a professional running career times 3, I mean, how many people get 15 years as a pro? I'm finishing 15 years as a pro, and then made teams before that. So, I've gotten to live multiple professional athlete lifetimes in that time.
I have to think that a lot of the top women now sort of grew up looking up to you or seeing you race. I'm wondering, like, what was it like towards the tail end of your track career racing against them? Or did you ever hear from one of them saying like, hey, I was inspired, now I'm doing this, or anything like that?
I love that question because I haven't told this story much before, but I remember standing on the starting line of one of the races in Eugene. I don't know if we were running a round or if it was the final or whatever. but we're on the starting line in Eugene to run one of whatever the dozens of races at 1500s I've run in Eugene. And there was a young woman in college running probably the US Championships. And she came up to me as we're on the starting line and said, "Oh, it's such a dream to," I don't remember exactly her words, but like, privileged to race against you. I watched you growing up. And that was like both sides of the coin. It took me aback. I was surprised that like we're about to race each other. Like you just should want to beat me, But it made me feel so amazing that like my career has been even a tiny little part of leading this woman to this moment, to being in this position to race at such a high level. But also it kind of made me realize like the next group is coming, the next generation is coming, and I'm closer to the end than I am to the beginning. So bittersweet, mostly sweet, but bittersweet.
Who was that? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look through some of the rounds and stuff and see if I can figure out who that was.
And then,
if you know who you are, reach out to me. It'd be fun to connect about that. That was a precious moment for me, and I'm grateful for it.
And then last question for me. What are you gonna miss most about professional running?
I'm not going to miss much because the biggest part of it I'm still going to do. Like I love running, so I'm still going to be out there running and competing. I really love competing. I love getting on the starting line and knowing like I'm ready to do something really special today. You can't have that if you're not at the highest level doing the hardest thing. And I've always known like that will have a lifespan, and that part of my life will end before I'm probably quote unquote ready. The nerves are difficult. The kind of shaking in your boots on the starting line is always uncomfortable, but there's something about it that it's like you don't know who you are yet. Like what you're capable of is on the track right in front of you or on the road right in front of you, and that moment of not knowing but knowing that it's imminent and it's coming, that reveal, I'll miss that a lot.
Very cool. Well, best of luck Sunday.
Yeah,
and, thanks for the time.
thank you.